can you hear? I looked at the invitation a couple days ago, and it said that if you are a published author, read something from one of your published works, and I've written a number of books, but maybe 15 or so, but they're all on religion topics, and a number of them are textbooks. So I thought, well, that's not necessarily something to read in public, so I chose to read a poem that I did have published in our Holy Family University literary magazine. Last year, Frank and I collaborated on a book about Francis of Assisi and nature. Frank did these wonderful paintings, and I added some meditations. I was thinking I should bring some of those along, but I couldn't find any extras. But I did bring a couple copies of some of my earlier books, 2 different ones. You're welcome to take one with you if you're interested. So this poem, I call it Used Books. And some years ago, my son Tim was in Boston at there's a famous used bookstore apparently up there. And he bought this copy of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass for me and gave it to me. And when I opened it, there was a postcard from the 1940s that was in it, and an inscription. So that struck me as something that would speak to a lot of us older folks. So used books. I love books, not on Kindle or Nook, books. Preferably a hardback, found hidden away in a used bookstore, copyright 1948, with an inscription inside. To Marcia, may you find these poems as inspiring as I do, Michael. And with a postcard of Coney Island in it, dated 1949, inserted to mark a special poem. Having a great time. Can't wait to talk more about Whitman. Miss you much. Love, Michael. The book would have had a life before it was discarded, perhaps by the children of Michael and Marcia, who only knew their parents as old, consumed with keeping the household in order and constantly complaining of aches and pains. They didn't know Michael and Marcia, the young lovers who shared books and dreamily talked together long into the night, of poetry that moved them and words that inspired them. And now I have the book. I too hope to find inspiration in it. It will end up in the cluttered bookcase of my study, where one day my children will toss it into a box and perhaps give it another life. Or they may notice its age and treat it with the respect deserved of old things. Maybe one of them will even read it and dream.
Okay, that concludes our first half. And now I'd like to introduce Glenn Cannell. I think everyone knows who Glenn is. He's artistic director here from 65 to 67. Do I have that right?
Exactly.
Okay, so he's chosen some plays for us, and I'll let you take it from here.
I will be. Obviously, the people who came here had talent, had creativity, had soul. And one of the places where all of those things came to be were right here. Because it is in this stage that for 20 years, the Passion of the Savior took precedence, okay? The first performance in this building was in 1955, which was the year that the building, I believe, was dedicated. The Passion Play, as you know, drew thousands of people. Every time there was a performance, this auditorium was packed. It was sold out. But there were lots of other stories. And those stories are the ones that I want to talk about, or I want you to talk about today. Now, some of them predate any of us, and they predate lots of the people who are here. But the first play that the prep players presented, when Father Gabriel Stapleton was the director, okay, was in 1952. And it was called Career Angel. And Career Angel was about an angel who stops into a university and gets mistaken for whoever he is, and there becomes a fight between the two institutions that want the angel. But in any case, that was the first time anything was here. Okay, in the next year, in '55, the prep players changed names, and they were called the Queen's Players. Gabriel had changed the title of the players, the Queen's Players, and the first performance was not here at all. It was in St. Mary's in Gloucester. And that year it was called the Who Ride White Horses. And it was about Edmund Campion, who was the Jesuit who was hunted down in the Elizabethan times and killed. And then back to St. Lawrence Auditorium in '54, The Strong or Lonely. And ages before, do all of you remember the movie The Mission? The Mission about the Jesuits in South America? Well, this play was about the Jesuits in Paraguay, and it was about the same plot. It was about the Spaniards trying to take over a mission so they could enslave the native people, and the Jesuits were fighting. And The Strong or Lonely was the play that was performed here. In 1955, the first performance of The Passion of the Savior was performed. Now, it was rewritten by Father Gabriel, because the first performance was in 1952, and if you recall the building that was over there called, I think it was St. Mary's, the building that housed the administration, the chapel, the refectory, some of the dorms, that was the first place where the play was conceived, and it was called, let me look it up, I thought I wrote it down. It was called The Betrayal, and it was performed in the dining room. In '55, obviously, but now this building was Gabriel's dream. It was a 600 auditorium. It was a professional theater, as you can see. It hasn't changed much since many of us were here. It had lighting, it had sound, a lot of, well, the auditorium seats, the lighting, and a lot of other things have changed. But this was the top of the line, and no other school had this kind of, no other college had this kind of stage, okay? So when Gabriel then took over this place, he did a play called God's Foolish General. And God's Foolish General was about, it was about Francis Jordan, exactly. Okay, now that year, after that year, Gabriel was transferred to St. Mary's High School in Lancaster, New York or something, and a new guy came whose name was Malachi Higginson. And Malachi is the first person who sort of transformed this into a professional stage company. And that's where I want to start, because we don't have, I couldn't find scripts for Career Angel. I couldn't find scripts for any of the other plays. Obviously, they're kind of old. But I could find scripts for Stalag 17. And that's where I want to start. I have 4 parts for people who want to go up and read parts of these plays. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to read parts of the plays from 57 to 67, and I want you to take part in that by taking some of the parts, okay? Everybody with me? The Queen's Players has become resurrected. Okay.
He's asking for volunteers.
I'm asking for volunteers. For Stalag 17, I need 4 characters. 4 characters?
Vince Di Pasquale.
What?
Vince,
Vince DePasquale and three others, come on,
where's Jimmy Brennan?
come on. And I'll give you the mic and the script. There you go. You can decide who you want to be.
Glenn, can you tell them a little bit
I am
about
gonna, while they take some time to read over their scripts, I'm going to tell them about the play.
What do we need, one more?
We need one more.
What about you, Jim?
Going once, going twice.
He's gonna come back, I'm sure. I have Billy Budd. Okay, for this play, I lost it. The first production, which was on the stage, Stalag 17, was a story of a group of World War II airmen, prisoners of war in a German prison camp. The set was elaborate. For those of you who are on the stage crews, Malachi didn't ever just put flats in. We built a whole barracks on this stage with a fireplace and all other kinds of things. And in the beginning, this was the beginning of a sophisticated stage direction and stage design that Malachi was noted for. Okay? So this is the first scene from Stalag 17 where 4 airmen talk and 2 of them are about to escape.
I'll start out with Hoppy, okay? I'll take this out. All right, you ready?
Okay?
Here's your civilian clothes, boys. Okay, Hoppy. Burn your army outfits before you get out of the forest.
Okay,
The compass is the top button on your pants, Johnson.
okay.
Anybody ask for your papers, your French laborers, your map, your kraut money, Swiss francs?
Okay, Roger.
Now, let's hear it one more time, boys.
We've been over it 100 times.
Let's hear it again.
We stick to the forest going west until we hit the Danube.
Check,
Then follow the Danube up to Linz.
check.
In Linz, we hop a barge and go all the way to Ulm.
You're in Ulm.
Once in Ulm, we lie low until night, then take a train to Friedrichshafen.
Then once in Friedrichshafen, we steal a rowboat, get some fishing tackle, and start drifting across the lake, always south, until we hit the other side, Switzerland.
You got 10 minutes to get through the tunnel. That'll bring you out just when the juries are changing shifts. Okay, boys, good luck and Godspeed.